Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Erickson, developer of the ProMaker method and creator of Step Up to Ultimate Performance. I want to tell you that you need to exercise like a caveman. And that might sound a little weird, but I want to kind of fill in. What does that mean? What does exercise like a caveman mean? What you find is, in today's society, we don't function the way we did back when we were cavemen and women. And we're starting to find that there's a lot of information out there now in terms of like the caveman diet, the Paleolithic diet, something where when we've introduced things into our diet that were never really intended for us to eat, we end up getting sick from that. So we find a lot of the processed foods and things along those lines are just destroying our health as a whole because we weren't designed to eat them. Well, guess what? The same thing is true of activity and exercise. And what you'll find is that if you avoid those activities that have been added into our lives that actually aren't good for us and go back to the basics, back to what we were designed to do, you'll actually have a lot less injury and you'll actually tend to get a great deal of performance gains without really making any effort from there. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what those things are. What you'll find is we weren't designed to walk on totally flat surfaces wearing shoes for long periods of time. Our bodies were actually designed for a variety of activities. We should be barefoot, walking on sand, and then climbing up over rocks, maybe even climbing up the tree or two, on our toes, sometimes between the heels and the toes, something along those lines. We weren't really designed to be wearing shoes all day long. And when we do, we actually find that our feet start to take on the shape of the shoe, and they start to take on the shape of the ground, which is extremely flat. So you want to have a nice arch in your foot, and a big part of that is making sure that you're using your feet in a variety of different ways. Try to go barefoot as much as you can. Get out on the sand, at the beach if you've got one nearby you, and exercise those feet to really get the arch kind of strong. Just a matter of going out there and just say, hey, I'm gonna go do my running routine, but instead of doing it out with my shoes on a totally flat surface, I'm gonna do it on the beach. Another thing we tend to do as well is chairs were kind of a human invention. We were, just said, hey, let's have this chair, let's sit down, it's gonna be a little bit more comfortable for us. What you actually find is our spines were not designed to be bent in a complete 90-degree angle for long periods of time. When we do that, it actually causes a great deal of problems to our backs. And it causes to the discs, to the muscle imbalance, both the front and the back. It tends to shorten up the hip flexors in the front of the spine, which is really not good for almost every single sport you might be involved in. So you find if you take on a lot of sitting, whether it's driving, sitting at a computer, whatever it is, your body starts to take on the shape of that chair, the shape of that sheet. Sorry, the shape of that seat. So what we want to do is get you out of the chair, get you, taking as many frequent breaks as you can, very short-term ones, where you get up out of the chair, stand up, maybe even arch backwards a little bit to take some of the pressure off and kind of move it in the opposite direction and give yourself a kind of a nice reset point. So that way you can actually start to take on the body of a caveman, which is pretty strong, pretty flexible, not much unlike the kind of weaker kind of bodies that we tend to find in today's society, where we get a little bit too bound up in those chairs. So anyway, you'll learn more about this at the ProMaker Performance Academy. I'll see you there.